My name is Amber Baker, and I'm from Malibu, California. I was a little bit different as a child. I was very quiet and introspective, very much alive in my inner world, like thinking and imagining. I was an artist and I painted and I would draw a lot, and I knew that that was something that I had to pursue. So I went to art school. I had graduated with a degree in fine arts, and I got married quite young, 25 years old. I really embraced more the role of being a wife, and I had my first son at the age of 28, and then I had another son at the age of 30. I think that when I got married quite young, I lost a sense of my own identity, even though I loved being a mother and I felt fulfilled in many areas of my life. I knew that there was something missing. I started to ask myself questions like, is there something more to life? And so I started to explore myself and to really, like I said, ask those questions. And the questions that I asked led me to the conclusion that I wasn't in the marriage that really I felt was where I wanted to be. And so I did get divorced. I had asthma growing up, and if I were to get sick with my asthma, it would, make it worse, of course. And so this illness that I had, it immediately caused this inflammation in my throat and my chest and this weight on my chest. So I was going to the hospital, I was going to different specialists and doctors, getting on a very high dose of steroids, getting my own breathing machine at home, but nothing was working to have any sense of relief. This illness just wasn't going away, and the asthma was getting worse and worse and worse. And so I was bedridden and feeling at this point like I think I'm gonna die. I don't know how to catch my breath. I was in this period of just feeling helpless. It was one night, I couldn't sleep because I couldn't breathe. It was the middle of the night, and it went from bad to worse. And I just knew in that moment, like, this is it. Like, I'm dying, and there's nothing else the hospital can do to help me relieve this asthma attack. I prayed to my grandmother, who had already passed. She was in spirit. We were very, very close, growing up, my whole life with her. And so I prayed to her because I really didn't know what else to do. And I prayed to her from a place of surrender and a deep need. And I just said, Grandma, please help me. Like, I don't want to die. A white, misty form came from across my room. Her presence was all around me. It felt like she laid her hands on my forehead. When she laid her hands over my forehead, I just started to calm down and feel a huge sense of relief and peace. And my whole body was able to just relax. And I really felt like I was kind of like sinking into the bed. And then my chest was starting to open. And I started to be able to feel like I could breathe just a little bit. I started to feel on my left side this loving, energetic presence who I just knew it was Mother Mary. It was just like 1,000% knowing. And Mother Mary felt like she was anchoring me in this loving presence. She really felt like she was the anchor of love. She is unconditional love. And my grandmother was there too and a part of this. And she was also unconditional love. As I'm lying there, I'm looking in front of me, and there's another presence. This presence filled the entire space, and he was at least 20 feet tall. And he also, I knew, was Archangel Michael. And he had a sense of a form, but it is not like maybe the depiction of, Archangel Michael with his sword, but he was a male presence, and he was enormous. The way that he filled the room and made himself known, I've never felt such presence in my life. He permeated this presence. And so as I was lying there, I had my grandmother and Mary and Archangel Michael just surrounding me. They shared with me what I was storing in my lungs. What I was storing in my lungs was grief and sadness and trauma. And I was holding on to the guilt of my divorce, they told me. I was holding on not just to my own emotions, but to what I felt like I was doing wrong as a mother. They said to me, "You have to release this sorrow." They started to literally breathe this energy, their essence, into my chest. And I felt like I was starting to open up my chest, and I was starting to feel relief. And as I was feeling relief, I just started leaving my body. I just had this very visceral feeling of this lightness floating up away from my body. My thoughts and my consciousness were completely intact. So I just said, "What's happening?" I talked to my grandma, and I said, I thought you were here to save me, and now I'm dying. That's when my grandmother stepped aside, and Archangel Michael became the communicator. And he said, "You are not going to die. This is not your time. I'm traveling through what feels like this tunnel." The tunnel felt warm. It felt like it had this kind of orange glow, but it was dark at the same time. And he starts to take me what feels like on a journey of looking at where I'm at in my life at that time. And he said, "This is a divine intervention. We are here to tell you that you are not defined by your thoughts and your struggles. You are not your body. You are not your mind." And you see, I thought I was my illness. Like, I thought, I have asthma, I am asthma, I can't breathe, that's it. I'm struggling financially, that's who I am. I'm sad, I'm depressed, that's who I am. And so that in itself was this like revelation. As he would communicate with me, the words would infuse into me the truth of what he said. So it was like this instant realization, like, oh yes, that is true, So it felt like he was expanding what I knew to be true at that time. He was also showing to me my life. And he was showing me by example, like it shows a scene of me crying, You are not your emotions. You are a seed in the universe. I am unlimited presence and power. I am omnipotent. And I am part of a whole with source. He said, in order for you to fully understand what I am revealing to you, you are going to become one with this consciousness that is source, this one omnipotent power. And so I started to travel again at that time, what I felt like I was going towards the center of the universe. it felt like my consciousness was becoming one with the one consciousness that we are all a part of. What I realized is God is a consciousness. It is an energy. It is all of us together. And so I was able to experience the merging of me with Source, the experience of being able to feel the euphoria and the eternity of that, and the complete oneness, really absence of thought and feeling, and just in this permanent state of kind of like rapture, just this state of bliss. When you align into that state of being, you are no longer just in your physical body. You are energy. And now I understand, no matter what we're experiencing, we are this expanded consciousness. And so I had that juxtaposition of, before the NDE, really feeling confined and attached to my feelings and creating my reality in that confinement. And then I had that experience of unlimited power and presence. So we create our reality, is what I realized. We have free will. We have unlimited power and potential. We are that expanded consciousness. But because we're so powerful, we also get to create the reality that we live in. So if you believe that you are limited, or if you believe that you are the feelings that you feel or the thoughts that you think, then you're going to create that reality. It's the biggest gift I could have ever received in my whole life, that no matter what you're feeling or thinking, you have the power to awaken into a new state of being. And there's nothing in your way, no circumstance. No circumstance, I had all the circumstances that maybe should have looked like, no, you're not that, you're not successful, no, you can't do that, like, no, you're, in a horrible, physical state. But then they showed to me who I really am. He said to me, your mission is to teach others how to connect to their own divine presence, and to teach them that we all are unlimited power and potential and possibility at all time. That is just the truth of who we are. So we experience, thoughts and feelings, but we're not defined by them. After I was one with Source, my consciousness slowly moved away from that state of oneness. I was still with Archangel Michael, and I was still completely out of my body. And I guess you could say you're traveling through maybe realms or stages of consciousness. I was just really moving through what felt like this void. They said, you're going to go back into your body now. And they explained to me that our consciousness is stored in this chakra system, these energy centers that we have in our bodies. And so this was a gift, because they really showed me how to access my consciousness in the physical body. And when I was reassimilated back into my body, the expansion of my consciousness that I experienced in the oneness of Source was then infused in that whole state with each chakra, so that my divine presence was fully integrated into my physical body. So that divine activation also, in a way, cleansed or transformed my mind, body, soul. I had a release of like the feelings and that struggle that I was in. And I really felt the awareness of, yes, this is who I am. I am a divine being. Once I was fully dropped back into my body, the guides, Archangel Michael, they really spoke to me as one, it felt like, and they said, meditate on the silence, you are one. And there was a gentle swirl of wind, a little bit of like a breeze next to me. And then all of a sudden, they were gone. I came back into my body. I remember looking around and crying and just knowing that my life would never be the same. I was able to go down this like empowering path of really tuning into my body, this mind, body, soul connection, knowing that my emotions can be stored in my body, knowing how to release my emotions and feel them and not attach myself to them, really actually helped me heal not just from my asthma, but to be able to move on in my life in this empowering way. No matter where you're at right now in your life, whatever circumstance you're in, whatever emotional state or state of being that you're in, it matters. There's wisdom there, and embracing where you're at is important. The first step towards transforming into your divine presence will always be to honor and embrace where you're at now, but to look further, to ask yourself questions. Are you out of alignment with your path? What are these emotional feelings or these thoughts trying to teach you? Within that exploration of asking yourself questions is for you to know that no matter what state you're in now, because you are a transformational being and because all possibilities and potentials exist for you and for me, always, no matter what, you have the ability to heal, you have the ability to transcend, to awaken, and to tap into your whole essence, your true essence. And it might take many, many times of going from a place of struggle or a place of identifying with insecurities and then remembering again who you really are. But every time you awake back into who you are, you learn something, you find yourself again, and you expand the light of source, because every time you remember who you are, that is the purpose of our evolution, is to expand consciousness. You are love. You are unlimited potentials and possibilities. You can transcend, you can transform at any time back into your loving essence, and that is who you really are.